So you work hard each and every day watching videos, taking whatever free stuff you can get. Oh, maybe this is on there. And usually they have a checklist for any kind of test that you're going to take, and they say this is all the stuff that you need. And you notice that checklist is pages of pages of pages, and your anxiety is doing this. So now you're just like, got all this information. What are you going to do with it? What you do with it? Are you applying it? Or are you just saying, okay, I spent a lot of hours watching videos, I'm just being a good student, and you go and take the test, and maybe you went up a couple of points. And you're like, I really thought I understood it. If that sounds like you, then this is the perfect live for you to be on. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Audrey Codner, and I'm the owner of Math by Audrey as well as ACG Math Tutoring. Been around for like 22 years, just finished up my 6-year tutoring, going into the 7th, and all because I feel that I take math concepts and I try to break it down and make it simple for people. That's what I do. Yes, I can throw around tons of math vocab easily, but how's that going to help you? Because let's be real, you want to pass the test so you can make more money. You want to either get a better career, you want to just improve on your job, you just need to get over this math thing, maybe just to conquer your fear and saying that, yes, I can do it. So whatever your promise to yourself is, let's get it done. Let's not complain anymore. Let's actually go after that test, and go after the test with confidence and with knowledge so you can apply it. So today, I'm going to talk about the difference between cross-multiplication and cross-simplification. But we're also going to talk about how to reduce fractions. So right now, basically, a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about today is really going to be how to deal with fractions. That's one of our fears that we're going to have to face, guys. Okay? It's always sometimes you think, oh, let me make it into a decimal. And I'll show you why there's some days that you just need to keep it as a fraction, because it will make your life so much easier. Alright, so let's look at a couple of examples here. Alright, so we got here. Move this back a little. So we're going to have cross-simplifying or cross-simplification, and we're going to compare that with cross-multiplication. A lot of people generally get this mixed up. I'm going to keep cross-mul for short. So cross-simplification comes when you are multiplying fractions. So let's say 2/7 times 35/12. So in between the two fractions, if I don't see a plus or a minus or an equal sign, okay, that means I'm doing multiplication. So way that you cross-simplify, you're going to have a number in the numerator of one of your ratios compared to the denominator of the other ratio, and to see if they have something in common. So when they do, you're going to use what they have in common to divide so you can reduce your numbers to lower terms. So if I take a look at this, I notice that I have a 2 and I have a 12. Let's see if I can clear that up a little bit. So we have a 2 and a 12. Well, both of them are even. And the lowest number that they both have in common, because you're looking for what's called the LCM, the least common multiple, So if I take a look at my multiplication tables of 2 times tables, that's, 2, right? And then for the 12s, where would I find my 12s? So 12s, I'm sorry. So where I find my 12s, I will see it in the 1 times table, 2 times table, then I'm at 1 times table, 2 times table, 3 times table, 4 times table, 6 times table, and 12. What is the least, the lowest? The lowest is 2. Okay? So that means if I divide this 2 by 2, that will give me a 1. If I divide this 12 by 2, that will give me a 6. Okay? 1 has to be in the numerator, 1 has to be in the denominator. Now, if I take a look at the 7 and the 35, I gotta take a look. So for my 7 and my 35, let's see, where do I find 7 and where do I find 35? Well, 7 times tables, we got 1s, you find the 7 in 1s and 7s, okay, and the 35s, you find it in the 1 times table, the 5 times table, the 7 times table, as well as the 35th. What do they have in common? So since they have the lowest number they have in common is 7, I'm going to take the 7 divided by 7. Anything divided by itself is 1. I'm going to take this 35 divided by 7, and that will give me 5. So now, since you simplify, now we're going to multiply straight across, horizontally. So what I have left for this problem is 1 times 5, which gives me 5, and 1 times 6, which gives me 6. This is your answer. Okay? This is what's called cross-simplification. Alright? Alright, thank you so much for coming on in. Hello, hello. Hey, neutral. Okay, well, thank you. Alright, so this is what a lot of people generally get mixed up. So let's try another one with cross-simplification. And then we're going to move over to cross-multiply. So if I said, let's go with 16/15 and 21/24. So when you're cross-simplifying, we're taking a look. So I'll switch it up this time. I'm using the denominator of 1 and the numerator of the other. So this time I'm using 15 and 21. So what do they have in common? So we need to get our multiples. Okay, let's get our factors of 15. Well, I know I've seen 15 in the 1 times table. I see them in the 3 times table, the 5s, and the 15s. I know I see 21 in the 1 times table, the 3s, the 7s, and the 21s. What number do they have in common? Thank you, Go John John, or Go John Squared. They both have 3. That's the lowest number that they have. Well, 1's is the lowest number, so we actually want to find what do they have in common, which is the 3. Greatest common. That's what it is. So, if I divide the 15 divided by 3, that will give me 5. If I take the 21 divided by 3, that will give me 7. Alright? So now we're going to do for the other. So we have 16 and we have 24. What do you think will be your greatest common for this one? For 16 and 24, what do you think they have in common? Okay, so neutral is saying 8, 50% is saying 8, okay, and I agree with you, okay. Lil, hi Lil, welcome in, saying 8, okay, 713 is saying 4, Austin saying 8, okay, Lulu saying 4 now, okay, well let's take a look. So, where would we find our 16s? I will find 16 in the 1 times table, the 2s, the 4s, the 8s. Okay, so we got 4 times 4, that, and 16s. Where would I find 24s? I would find the 24s in 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, 6, 8, 12s, and 24. Okay, so this is when I want to, and I'll make my correction, we want to find the GCF, the greatest common factor. Because yes, the lowest numbers that they have in common is 1s. The lowest number we have in common is 2s. They do have 4s in common. But what is the greatest that they have in common? Okay, the greatest that they have in common is 8. You can reduce it by 4, but then you're going to have to reduce again. Because if I reduce that 16, if I divide by 4, it will give me 4. If I reduce this by 4, this will give me 6. And 4 and 6 both can be reduced again, because they're both even numbers. So why not go for the biggest or the greatest common number that they have, which is 8. So 16 divided by 8 will give me 2. And 24 divided by 8 will give me 3. Okay, so now, since we simplify, let's see what we have left over. So that means in the numerator we have 2 times 7. In the denominator we have 5 times 3. And the funny part is all of them are prime numbers. So we can't reduce it any further. So what we do is just multiply. 2 times 7 gives me 14. And 5 times 3 gives me 15. So your simplified answer will be 14/15. Okay? Alright? So taking it slow. Taking it slow. So that's cross-simplification. That's when you cross-simplify. But now we're going to go into what's called cross-multiplication. The difference you'll actually see in a moment. When you have x over 7 equals 3 halves. Just looking at these two, what do you notice? What's different? What's different? Okay, thanks for the follow, guys. What's different with these two? Especially with the setup. Okay, we're going to stare at, okay, the equal sign. Exactly neutral, exactly. This one doesn't have an equal sign in between the two ratios, okay? This one does. So when you're doing cross multiplication, it's when you're saying that this ratio, which is a fraction, is equivalent to this ratio. Okay? So true to times table, but the setup is your equal sign. So when you cross multiply, this is when teachers like to use that word butterfly effect. Okay, heard of that? So what we're doing is we are cross multiplying. So I like to start the one with the variable. So x times 2 or 2 times x, that gives me 2x. And then 7 times 3, that gives me 21. Okay, so now we're actually going to solve for x. We're not just simplifying the fractions, we're actually solving for that unknown variable. So we have 2x. 2x means 2 times x. So the inverse of multiplication is division. So 2 divided by 2 gives me 1x, or just x. Then 21 divided by 2, you can either leave as an improper fraction, or you can make it into a mixed number, or you can make it into a decimal. So if you wanted to make it into a decimal, 2 divided by 2, that gives me 1. Okay, so now we bring down to 0. So then we have to bring down another 0 to make it 10. Too many late nights. Okay, so you do get 10.5. All right. Okay, if you want it as a mixed number, it's going to be your 10, and once you have that 1 as a leftover without bringing down that decimal, it could be 10 and 1 over the divisor, which is 1/2. Okay, all right. So when you're cross multiplying, when you see an equal sign between two ratios, this whole entire thing is called a proportion. So they always give you like some questions like that as a proportion. So let's try one more and then we'll move to the next part. So if we have, and this is what they do for proportions, like if I had like 14 over, let's say 2x minus 1 equals 7/3. You're like, whoa, whoa, Audrey. No. What do you mean it's going to be 1 or 2? Or 1 over 2? 1 over 2. Advanced functions? I do. I do that for my tutoring, not for online. Okay. So for this, again, you have a ratio equal to a ratio. Do not freak out. Okay, especially if you're doing my Accuplacer, my SATs, my ACTs, you're probably going to see something similar to this. But the process is still the same. You're still going to cross multiply. Okay, you're still going to cross multiply. So Jamar, you're missing your 0. It's supposed to be 10.5. Okay, so when you cross multiply, so this 7 is being multiplied to the 2x minus 1. And this is where a lot of people get screwed up. You're just like, well, I don't know what to do with it. But you're multiplying the 7 to both the 2x and the minus 1. So we're going to have to put parentheses around this expression right here, because you're going to eventually distribute that 7 to everything. Now it's going to equal 14 times 3. So we know 4 times 3 is 12, so we bring down our 2, carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So we got 42. Okay. So from here, and I like to show this because it kind of cuts through a lot. Now we got a multi-step equation to solve. So like I said earlier, we could distribute the 7 to everything. We can solve this in 2 different ways. So the first way, which I'm going to keep going, is when you distribute everything. So 7 times 2, that gives us 14x. 7 times -1 gives us a -7. And then I bring down the equals 42. So I want to solve this for my x. So now, let's take it step by step. If I want to get x by itself, that means I need to move this -7 to the opposite side. So since it's a -7 or a -7, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to add 7. So -7 plus 7, that gives me 0. I don't need that 0 as a placeholder because still on that side of the equal sign, I still got my 14x. So now 42 plus 7, that gives us 49. Okay. Now, working on the x. So what do we need to do? I see you, Holly. Okay, we need to divide both sides by 14. So 14 divided by 14, that will give me 1. So 1x and x is the same thing. So now 49/14, that can be reduced. What does 49 and 14 have in common? Okay. What does 49 and 14 have in common? Okay, Mayday, I see you. AI, I see you. Madeline, I see you. Is that for 10? I see you. Jamar, I see you. Advantage, I see you. Oh, shortness, I see you. All right, so they have 7 in common. So I can actually divide this fraction, the numerator and the denominator, by 7. So I can reduce it. So now 49 divided by 7, that gives me 7. And 14 divided by 7, that gives me 2. So we can either leave it as 2/7, or we can think of what's half of 7, which is 3.5. Or as a mixed number, it will be your 3, and what remains is going to be my 1/2. Okay, same answer shown in 3 different forms. And the reason why I show it in 3 different forms, because I don't know what the answer key is going to be exactly. I know it's going to have something as an answer. It might have it as an imperfect fraction, improper fraction. If it shows as improper fraction and you see it, boom, you're done. Sometimes they like to trick you and to leave you with the 49/14. But if you see 49/14 and you see 7/2, pick the 7/2, especially if they use the directive simplify, because you have it at its lowest term. If you see decimals, make it into a decimal. If you see it as a mixed number, figure out what it should be as a mixed number. Okay? All right. Jabbar, what's up with the ones? Okay. All right. So if you need more practice with these, okay, I have a link in my bio that will guide you to my algebra at your pace. Okay. If you're interested in that, just go to the link in my profile. It's the only one that's there. Go ahead, take a look through my stand store, and you'll see everything that you need. All right, so we're going to do basically our last question. They're like, what? Already? I'm like, yeah. You're a what? You're a what? Sorry? I'm getting kind of curious. What's a generous? You're generous? You're generous? Okay. Help me to help you. So, here's an example of a word problem in one of my sample questions. All right, Jabbar, I don't know what you're saying. So, a car's gas tank holds 15 gallons. If the car gets 28 miles per gallon, how many miles can it travel on 3/4 of a tank? Okay. Yeah, you're failing this. Jesus, you can't fail no. Jesus, if you fail, how are we supposed to exist? Sorry, couldn't resist it. Okay, you don't know? Okay, that's fine. All right. Okay. Oh, shortness. It's okay. Right? It's like, that's right. Yeah, I know. All right. So, this is why I do these. Is it because immediately you saw words and you just started saying, no, we're not doing this? Okay. Is that the reason why? Is it because you don't know where exactly to start? Okay. Because there was a lot of people that are like, nope, can't do it, not going to do it. It's no in the words and fractions. Okay. But see, this is the thing. We're going to have to face our fears. We're going to have to face our fears. Because the words is just basically, let me see how we can put math in a real world situation. But we just have to understand that certain words have certain operations. Okay? So let's break it down step by step so we can kind of lessen that fear. That's the whole purpose of me being here on TikTok. Not just because I'm just sitting here trying to be cute. All right? So we have a car's tank. It holds 15 gallons. All right? So now they're saying, okay, if a car gets 28 miles per gallon, all right, that's something important. But they want to know how many miles can it travel on a 3/4 of a tank. So we're talking about this is how much the tank holds. But we only want to know what happens if that gas tank is only 3/4 full. Okay. So now we need to take a look. So we got to figure out what is 3/4 of that whole entire tank. So if we're looking at it, we're going to have to take our fraction, which everyone loves, it's okay, and we need to multiply it to the 15. Because we want to know 3/4 of, here's the key word right here. When it comes to word problems, they give us little clues. The word of means multiplication. Okay? So that means we're going to multiply 3/4 of the total, and the total amount it holds is 15. Now, if we take 3/4 times 15 in this natural state, it's a lot easier to multiply a fraction with a fraction. So how do I change my whole number to a fraction? I put it over 1. It doesn't devalue the 15 because 15 divided by 1 is still going to give me 15. So now what I do is I multiply straight across. So 3 times 15, that'll give me 45. And 4 times 1, that'll give me 4. Now, the reason why I do a lot of stuff by hand instead of a calculator, because people, if you're taking the ASVAB or the Accuplacer, you can't use a calculator. GED, only certain parts will use a calculator. So you have to practice the way that you're going to test. So now we have this 45/4. And I know immediately everyone's like, make it into a decimal. It's like, calm down. Keep it as a fraction because it's going to help you out. So now we have 28 miles per gallon. And what we figured out is how many gallons we're going to be talking about with that 3/4 of a tank. So what are we going to do? We're going to multiply. We're going to multiply again with the 45/4. But this time we're going to multiply it to the 28 because we need our miles per gallon. Yep. So taking a look. Now we can do what we did earlier. We have a ratio, and if we want to, we can make this into another ratio. So this is cross-simplification. So if you notice, right here with my 28 and my 4, what do they have in common? 28 and 4, what do they have in common? Not 7, Austin. You're right there. There we go, Austin. We got 4. Advantage. Good. 4. Okay? So then you have that. So if I wanted to reduce, I got 1. 7 divided by 4 will give me 7. And now, all you have to do is just multiply. So 7 times 5 gives me 35. 5 carry the 3. 7 and 4 gives me 28 plus 3 gives me 31. So I have 315. 315 what? 315 miles. So your answer is A. Okay. All right. I know there's tons of ways of doing it. There's tons of ways of doing it. Okay. Buddha, we're not doing that. This is the one place that I want to respect the space. Okay. This is not about like who got the answer first, who got the answer second, who picked this one, who picked that one. This is a learning environment, everyone. And if it's too much for people, then I appreciate you stopping by. Just go and just enjoy all of your videos and everything. Okay? The reason why I'm here is to break down concepts step by step. Yes, there's multiple ways of doing it. Yes, you could have taken the 3/4 and you could probably make it into a decimal. Some of us can use with the calculator. Some of us are not strong with math. So because of it, I don't try to use anything that's elaborate. I want to keep it simple so people can understand it. Okay? All right? So we don't have to retaliate. We don't have to do anything else. It's just a matter of I try to make this into a safe learning space. Okay? We don't have to demean. We don't have to do anything. Okay? All right? So, like I said, you can do it like this. If you want to make it into decimals, you can make it into decimals and translate over again. But I try to keep it as fractions because then I can do my simplification so much easier. All right? But there's multiple ways of getting the same answer. So, with that being said, if you want more practice problems like this, okay, even if you're if you're trying to get your ASVAB, if you're trying to get your GED, your Accuplacer, okay, this is where I got this word problem from, Okay, so it's right here. Okay, so number 11, number 11. All right, so what I did was I put together a whole bunch of small quizzes. So this was part of practice quiz number 3. So each quiz is usually around like 40 questions. Okay, so you have to practice. So basically, let's say you're taking quiz number 1. You're sitting alone in a room with a timer and you're timing yourself. ASVAB people, you're basically given 1 minute per problem. So that means if you have 40 questions here, that means you're giving yourself 40 minutes to finish this quiz. And after you're done, you can check your answers. But I also have an option on my Stand Store that you can purchase the book and my video breakdowns of each of the problems. So this will be great for GED, for ASVAB, for Accuplacer. There's like a total of 3 quizzes, and then of course I put like a bonus quiz in there as well that just sticks with a lot of factoring. So you have that. You have your algebra at your pace. If you need someone to help break down concepts for you, all you do is you scan the QR code. I will come and I will break down what the concept is. And then after you do a couple practice problems and an exit ticket, you're writing down your notes. We got to get practice with that. And then you can do your extra practice problems. And as you go through the extra practice problems, yes, there's answers on the back. But at the same time, if you need the breakdown of it, I do have video breakdowns that will help you through. So you no longer have to do this by yourself. Okay? Did 8 years in the Army? Awesome. Good. So that's when you can do all these things, breaking it down. So if you're just starting out, and heck, if anybody that's thinking about, joining the Army, hey, the legend, can we say, hey, people talk to him? Probably give me more insight. I just know the test, but he can give me more insight of everything else. Okay? All right? So that's basically it. If you want access to all of those things, just click the link that's in my profile. Now here's another question for you. Ready? So you learned a couple things today. What are you going to do with that information? Now what? Are you going to just say, hey, I learned it, this is awesome. I might be able to watch the replay. And of course, I do have a YT account. So if you want to watch the replay, that's usually where all my replays are. But you're watching the videos, maybe doing a PDF. But what are you going to do with this? Okay, so this is good? Okay, good. We're afraid to go to fail the test. Why? LA, why? McLeod. So you're doing all this, you're collecting all this information, and you're doing all this work. You're going to have to take the test. And if you fail, guess what? You learn from it. Where did I mess up? Because here's the thing, and I'm going to be very blunt and very honest. The reason why a lot of you guys are failing exams is you're trying to use past information that you heard many, many moons ago, and you're trying to apply it to a current situation of this test. You can't even remember what you did last week. You can't, like, seriously. I can't even remember what I did last night. That I woke up with a cramp in my middle toe. All right, that's 53. But but that's what I'm saying. You have to do some kind of understanding. You can't use past knowledge. It's almost like yesterday I was talking about you guys are just like lawnmowers. Like, it works great for the season. Then all of a sudden you packed it away. You didn't need it. And then all of a sudden here comes spring again. You got to mow the lawn. And then you're trying to use old gas and oil that's inside the tank to run the lawnmower. No. You got to filter that stuff out. You got to put fresh gas in it. You got to make sure everything's tuned up. Maybe it's a lawnmower that you might have to prime up a couple of times before you can pull. Maybe you have to get rid of the old grass that's underneath. You got to pull all that stuff out. So when it's time for you to pull on the cord, you can do that. Now it can run. It'll be a little smoky the first time, but after that smoke comes, and all of a sudden, like, all right, now I can ride. You can't use old information to try to solve a new thing. It's not possible. So that's why I developed those things. If you don't want to get it from me, that's fine. But you still have to develop your stuff. You got to take this information and now you got to apply it, because when you apply it, it stays in the brain. When you just watch videos, you're just watching for entertainment, because that's what you do here on TikTok. You're supposed to be entertained. You weren't expecting to learn something today, especially this time in the morning, right? So fuel yourself. And if you want, take a look. Take a look at it. It's not going to hurt you. I'm not going to ask for 60 million two things. It's up to you. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and click my picture, and we'll take it from there. All right? So have an amazing day. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Okay? It's going to be hotter than Hades. Like, it's really going to be Hades the next 4 days for us in Maryland. So, yeah. My lives might be getting a little bit shorter. Because, you know, girlfriend doesn't want to spend too much money for air conditioning and all kinds of stuff. All right, what time I usually go on live? Oh, thanks for checking in. Yep, East Coast time. Yes, definitely. I'm in Maryland. Try to get here between like 8 to 8:30. I'm going to try a little early, but between 8 and 8:30 in the morning is usually when I come on. All right. But if you ever get stuck and you're just like, you know, I'm still at work, Audrey, I wish I can watch it. You can actually watch the replays on my YT channel. So it's like Math by Audrey. Okay. I just put it in there. So you have all that. Yep. Telling you. So disrespectful. But it's better than me running my heat. I can deal with electricity instead of the heat. Yeah, this winter sucked. Yeah, $1,000 a month. Thank you. That's cool. Thank you, Vanessa. All right, everyone. So, you guys have an amazing day. Thank you, Nan. And if you have any questions, go ahead. Click the link that's in my bio. It's right underneath. There's a little finger that's pointing down to it. So just click the link, enjoy, look through the stand store, see if there's something that you're like, ooh, I really need that. And then stay tuned for more information. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow, basically around the same time, between 8 and 8:30. Take care.